All right, cool. So I am live now. And I see some people still kind of coming in. So just to kind of introduce what the class is going to be. It's going to be on rocking your virtual open house. And I know I've been seeing some things lately about open houses now being able to be done in person again. But I think the idea of a virtual open house will still be valid for, however long this goes on for. I think it's going to be something that we're going to be doing regardless now. So kind of like how we're doing the Zoom meeting, it's going to be very much the same going forward. I think this is going to be something that's staying with us for, a very long time. And I think it's always good to have that ability to be able to do this anyway. Technology now, the stuff that we have available to us, all the tools, makes it so much easier for us to do things that we wouldn't have been able to do before. And I did have a guest with me in the room here, Brenda, who works with Eileen Meehan. And I asked her to come into this class today because she's been really doing a great job with her open houses. And I wanted her to just kind of explain some of the things she was doing that's been really helping her. And I was going to go over some of the things that you can do based on some of the things that she's been doing. So Brenda, if you had anything that you wanted to just add real quickly before I kind of jump into it.
No, I think it's best if you just start and show them how it's done, and then I'll give a few tips at the end of what I've found works for us when we're setting them up.
Cool.
Thanks.
All good. So let's go ahead and get started. So I know right now there's a couple ways that you can currently do a virtual open house. You can go through Zoom, of course. You can use Facebook Live. I've seen agents who are doing essentially a virtual tour through the home using Matterport, and they'll do like a little kind of commentary video. Um, but you'll probably mainly see a lot of people doing this through Zoom. So I want to just share my screen. We're going to go through some of the settings through Zoom that will help you do this. I'm also going to share my phone screen in a little while because I want to show you, it's important to be able to know how to do this through your computer, but you're probably going to be doing this mostly through your phone. So I'm going to show you how you can, how you'll be able to do your Facebook Live, your Zoom meeting through your phone. And again, any questions as I move through this, feel free to kind of just shout them out. And I'll probably be pausing every now and then if there's going to be somebody trying to get in. So don't mind if I do that. And I am in a little bit of a newer setting here too. You might have noticed I'm
Yeah.
back at it again in the Fort Lee office.
hmm
So, all right. So where I want to start is I want to go to Zoom. So I'm going to go to zoom.us. That's the main site. And the first thing I want to be able to do is I want to set up a Zoom conference webinar. And Brenda, can you let me know with the Zoom webinars now, do you have to pay for a certain subscription?
Yes,
So it's part of like the pro package, correct?
right. In order to do like the hour block.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I'm going to show you how you can set up the webinar, but then also setting up just a scheduled link and then how you can use that link and then post it into your MLS listing. And I'm going to use NJMLS as an example because that's the one I actually have access to. And it's very simple to do. So I'm actually going to I'm here on zoom.us. And let's say we're going to host an open house on this Saturday, which I believe is the 20th. So we're hosting an open house this Saturday. We want to get it set up so we have the link already available. And then we want to use that link and then post it to my MLS listing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my account on the top. And through my account here, you're going to notice that this is just my settings menu here on Zoom. And you'll notice on the top, it has a few different options: schedule a meeting, join a meeting, and host a meeting. So basically the difference between these three: scheduling a meeting, I can essentially use this to put something into my calendar, which I would schedule in advance. If I'm joining a meeting, that means I've already had some sort of meeting ID and I just want to join that real quickly. hosting a meeting, that means I'm just going to set up a room right now. And that would be allowing me to essentially have a Zoom already set up. So what I want to do is I want to schedule a meeting for this coming Saturday. And the way I can do that is I can go to schedule a meeting. And you can also use this tab here as well that says meetings. So whichever one is easier for you. I'm going to just go to schedule a meeting.
Chris, can I just interrupt you for one quick second? I
Yeah.
have downloaded the free Zoom. I haven't used it yet, but are the steps the same as this pay? Because that allows you 45 minutes, I think, instead of an hour at no charge.
Correct.
Are the steps the same as the Zoom US?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna share my phone screen in a little bit, so you'll see how you can do it from your phone as well.
And I think another difference with the paid subscription is that you are able to do registration.
Yeah. So the other thing that I'm going to show you as well is the webinar aspect, which will allow you to set up a room and also have a way to have people register for this. I mean, alternatively, you can also set up an Eventbrite and then use the Zoom link you've created. But I think in this case, we're just going to try to keep it more simple. So we're going to say this is going to be, we'll say open house, 123 Main Street in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Ooh. We can just do that. That's cool. Now for the description, if I want to add a description, I can also do that. Let's say it's going to be for, we'll leave the description blank for now. That's all good. So this is where I'm going to schedule when I'm actually going to have this meeting. So in this case, I'm going to set it for this coming Saturday, and I'm going to say it's for 1 p.m. And for the duration, again, with the free accounts, I believe it is 45 minutes. But for an open house, you probably won't need too long if you're going to be doing it virtually.
All right.
Half hour to 45 minutes is probably good enough. But if you do have a paid account, you could have the duration for pretty much as long as you want. I think you're going to do it for a day, you can do that as well. But an hour, that's the standard. So I'll just leave it as an hour. Actually, I'm going to do it we'll do 45 minutes. That's good. So it's going to be an event that we're hosting from 1 to 1:45. The time zone, I'm going to leave. That's just going to be the Eastern Standard. Now, it looks like what they also did here is they added a registration. I don't think I've seen that here before.
That came up as soon as we did the paid. As soon as we went on to the paid Zoom, the registration feature applied.
I see. Yeah. So I thought that was only for webinars. So in this case, what we can do if we have the pro account, we can also add a registration function. So I'll add that in here and then we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, it's great. It's great to have that.
Yeah. So this would just allow people to essentially, it'll create almost like a lead capture form.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So as soon as they log in, they'll be sending your information over to you. So then here you can see, I can also choose if I want to generate a unique meeting ID, if I want to use my personal meeting ID. I'd probably generate an automatic one because this would be something more so if I'm using if I'm going to be generating the room every week and I want to use the same link for that, I can obviously use my personal ID. I'm going to use the automatic one for now. Now you can also request to have a meeting password. Now, if you want to have a meeting password, you can also select that on. It will generate one for you. And that would be the one that would be required to get into the actual room. In any case, I'm going to leave that off because typically what you can also do is you can enable a waiting room. You can also enable people to join before you, which means if I had this checked on, anybody can kind of join in. And as soon as I enter, that's kind of like when the meeting would start. I'm going to leave that turned off because I don't want people to be able to do that. I want to be able to have people essentially kind of in some sort of waiting room, kind of like when you're waiting for me to let you into the room. That's basically how it's done. You can also mute people on entry, which means they won't be able to have their mic turned on if I let them in. And they can obviously unmute themselves if they'd like, but we're going to leave them muted. Here's some other additional options I didn't go over right away. These are essentially saying if I want to have the ability for video turned on or off for participants and hosts. So basically, if I want to give the ability for a participant to have their video, which I think in this case, I'll leave it turned off because that will just allow them to turn their video on as soon as they come in. You have your audio options here. So this would allow them to either dial in from their phone or using their computer audio. Again, here are some of the meeting options, and these are the ones that are set by default. Mute on entry. You can enable a waiting room that will allow people to kind of hang out before you let them into the room. I'm going to turn that on.
Chris, excuse me 1 second. Where the participants audio and video, where you host and participant, if you leave that off, the people coming into the room can still turn their video on?
Yeah, this just means that their video is going to be turned off by default. So
Okay.
when they join, they're not going to have their video on.
Oh, okay. They have to turn it on. Got it. Thank you.
So they can still turn it on.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we're going into some of the meeting options. I enabled the waiting room. That way, when people start joining into my open house and I'm not already in there yet, I can let them in as soon as I get joined in. The other ones here that you can see, I don't know if these really need to be turned on. Breakout rooms you don't need, because that's going to be something more so for, this wouldn't really apply to an open house in my opinion. And then if you prefer to record the meeting, you can also do that as well. And I just saw something pop up in chat. Does the waiting room start your time for 45 minutes? No, with the waiting room, it basically starts as soon as the host joins, and that's when the 45-minute timer starts. So if you're under a free account, you'll still have the 45 minutes as soon as the host joins. The waiting room is essentially there before people can get into the room. One other thing I also get questions about as well, alternate hosts. So basically that would allow, if maybe perhaps you have another agent working with you on a specific day and you want to give them some sort of hosting option, you can do that as well. They do have to have a Zoom account though, so just be aware of that. So if you want to invite somebody else to have hosting capabilities for your particular open house, you need to make sure that they have their own Zoom account as well. So what I'm going to do now, I think all the settings that I have are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and save this. We're going to save this as a link. What it's going to do, as you can see, it's going to bring me to this room here, which will allow me to copy the registration URL. So we can copy this, and I'm going to show you, if we click that, you see here what it did. Mm-hmm. Now it has a awesome registration link here. What we're going to do after this is we're going to have this in my MLS as a virtual open house link. You're going to see when I do that, if somebody was on my MLS page and they clicked on this, they will be required to register first, which by that point, they'll be sent out another link that they can join into the room on the day of the open house. Does that make sense? So this is really cool.
Wait, where do they see the link on, where on the MLS will they be seeing this link?
I'm going to get to that right after this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So this is the registration link that we just generated from this here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say copy invitation. Actually, we're not going to do that. We're going to just copy this link. I'm going to copy and paste. Copy link address. You'll notice here, it's going to allow us, if we need to, we can also edit this. So if we needed to edit this meeting at any point, we can do that. One other really cool thing as well, you'll notice here, it's going to show you as people start registering how many registrants you have. Here are some of the options available for them as well. I can set it if I want to get an email every time somebody registers. You can say close registration after meeting date, allowing attendants to join from multiple devices, which is also very useful. And you can also have social share buttons on our registration page. We have some email options available as well. Here's the contact email. You're going to see here, confirm emails to registrants, and I'll send them a email as well upon registration. I didn't put any of my branding in here, but if I prefer to have something like my logo, I can also do that here. Live streaming. So these are just some of the live streams that I have available. If I wanted to essentially have that Zoom link open and then I want to share that over into Facebook Live or YouTube, I'll go into that in a little bit. But in this case, what we do, I have the link, right? We have the registration link here. I'm going to copy that link, and then I'm going to go into my MLS. So we're going to use New Jersey MLS as the example here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to log in, and we're going to be taken to my dashboard. So this is my NJMLS dashboard. Now, to add the link into my MLS listing, we need to go into listing maintenance, and we have to go to add modify listing. And I'm going to just take one of these as an example. I'm not going to actually put it on there because it's not my listing. But you're going to notice here, like anytime you're putting in a listing or on any sort of edits, you know, you want to add a virtual tour. Right below that, it says tour open house. So I'm going to click on that. And you're going to see here, it's going to give you realtor tour information. That's if I'm doing like a broker open house. Here's the one for the public open house. And it's going to be exactly how you would have filled it out previously. You know, we set the date, right? So it's the 20th. We have the time. We're going to do 1 p.m. to 1:45. Doesn't give me that ability. We're just going to say 2 p.m. Here's the option that you have available as well. You can see here I have virtual and in-person. So let's say you're going to be doing Saturday, like we just did. We're going to choose virtual. And the URL you can see here is now required. I'm going to go ahead and paste that URL in. So this is the registration link that we generated. Once we add that as a virtual tour date, or a virtual open house date, that's going to be added into the MLS listing. And once we save this, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my desktop here so you can see. I'm going to use just one of these open house inventory links as an example here. You'll notice on the side where it says type, some of them say in person, which it looks like a lot of people are doing this weekend. If I go in here and I click on that, there would be an additional link here for the virtual open house. So kind of like where it has the open house information here, you'll see that it's going to have a link. And that link is going to say virtual, and then the link will lead them back to that registration link. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So basically what we did was we generated the registration link for our Zoom meeting. We had it in here as a virtual link, which when somebody's looking on this from the MLS, they'll be able to click on that link and right away they can register for that open house. And then what would happen is on the day of the open house, they'll be able to go in and join the open house that you're doing virtually. So that would be one way you can do your virtual open house. You saw how simple it was just to generate the actual registration link as well. I know I had mentioned, and Brendan had mentioned as well, you do have to have a pro account to be able to do that. However, you can still generate a link that you can post inside of your MLS. So even if it doesn't wind up being a registration link, you can still create a regular Zoom link that you can post right within that MLS feed.
I think the difference is,
So
I think the difference is that you wouldn't be able to keep track of who's registering.
yeah,
Yeah,
basically it's just going to be whoever joins in the room. You'll probably just have to keep track of the participants that way.
right.
The other thing would be that you won't have a way for them to essentially sign in. So in that case, you would really have to kind of maybe ask people in the chat maybe to leave their information in there. That might be a way for you to kind of gather their info before they leave. You can just ask them like, hey, if you don't mind in chat, can you just drop in your name and number and email? Because I want to just keep track of the open house sign-ins. Additionally, as I mentioned, you could create an Eventbrite link. And that Eventbrite link, you can also link back the registration or the Zoom link that you've created.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you
question?
put this as an event on Facebook?
That's a good question. Yeah, you could. So if you wanted to create an event on Facebook, you can also do that for sure. And then the link would just be going back to that Zoom link as well.
Oh, so we'll still get their information.
Yeah, if you did it as an event, like let's say you did it from Facebook,
Right.
and you were going to do it under like your business page. Let's just use the Parkviews one as an example here. So basically what I would be doing is I would be going to events, and I can create a new event. And from here, basically what I would be doing is, I can maybe have like a front of the home there. We can say this is going to be open house for 123 Main Street. Location, it's going to be an online event. Description, I'm just going to let people know what this is. Open house for 123 Main Street.
Do both at the same time, Chris?
What was that?
Can you do both at the same time, Facebook and?
Good.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you right after this, I'm going to share my phone screen, and I'm going to show you from Zoom how you can go in and essentially create a live stream.
Okay.
So for the categories here, we can just put, we're going to say this is home. Then you have your start date, the 20th. We're going to put that 1 p.m. in there. And then we can put 1:30 p.m. as the end date. You can also add your co-hosts in there. You can add some additional details, add mission. The ticket link here, you can add if you needed to. And then what I'll do is I'll hit publish. Now within the description here, if you wanted to add the Zoom link, I probably wouldn't. I would probably have people register first, and then what I would do is maybe email them or send them a message afterwards. Brenda, maybe you have like another tip for that.
No, that's great. That's
Yeah.
How do they register? They register on Facebook.
So
and
they would
then
you would
link?
basically be promoting the event, and once somebody had registered, you can send them a link afterwards.
Oh, they have to register on here.
Yeah,
On
so this would
Facebook.
be a way that you can keep track of the names, because as I mentioned, with Zoom, if you don't have the pro account, you don't have the ability to create a registration link.
Is it a big difference in price?
The price, off the top of my head, I don't know the price. I can find out for you though.
That's all right.
I don't think it's too expensive. I believe it's like $25 or maybe $30 a month. Let's just check it out actually real quickly.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thanks.
Pro,
okay.
$14.99. That's not
yeah,
too
I thought
bad.
it was 15. Yeah.
It's worth
Yeah.
it to get their information.
Yeah, maybe
it's
I was paying more
it's
for
definitely
it.
worth it. It's a great lead gen.
Yeah. And it also gets rid of the duration that you would have. And if you think of it this way, when I mentioned in the beginning of the class, this isn't going to go away for any time soon. So you're probably going to be doing a lot of virtual stuff either way. And I think for most people, they might prefer to do it virtually. So having the ability to just, this would probably wind up paying for itself after a while.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the pricing for that. And then with the pro account, as I mentioned, you will have the ability to create that registration link, which you can then essentially promote anywhere. You can post this link onto your Facebook. I showed you how you can post it into your MLS listing. Now, another question that I get quite frequently is, how can I get it to show up on Zillow? So Zillow is a little fussy. Zillow has their own kind of rules as well. And the way that it works with Zillow in particular is you have to have in the remarks, you have to have the link posted into the remarks with like the date and time. And then if I go to Zillow virtual open house links, there's I'm trying to remember there's like a documentation, which I can find and I can send to everybody because I don't want to take up too much time trying to find it. But there is like some sort of verbiage that you need to have in the remarks for Zillow to be able to pick it up and then post it for you. And they do have like some kind of things that you can and can't post. So after this, I'll find that link and I'll send it to everybody. But the same way that you would do that in the MLS feed, it would also populate into the KWLS too, which would then also syndicate that over to your Zillow listing. So if you needed to do it manually inside the KWLS as well, you can simply do that just by looking up the listing. Let me see if I can just go into one real quickly and I can just show you. Let's use this one here. So under the remarks, if I needed to edit that, I would just go to edit. I would go into the remarks here or the description, and I would essentially take my Zoom link that I've created, that registration link, and I would copy it, and I'll just say something like open house. We can say here, virtual open house. Virtual open house this Saturday, 6/20 at 1 p.m. to 1:45 p.m. Then I can say link to register below. What I'll do is I'll post that link in here, and this would be the link that would be inside of the verbiage, not only on the MLS listing, but it would also appear here under the KWLS and under Zillow. Like I said, with Zillow, there is I think you have to add like a hashtag or something. There's something that they need for you to put in there, unless they changed it recently. I'm going to double check. And like I said, I'll send everybody that information, but I know for sure. What was that?
That would be great to have that.
Thank you. That would be
Yeah,
great.
I know for sure that you have to have it in the verbiage for them to pick it up. Zillow right now doesn't have a way where it'll allow you to have like a clickable link directly on the listing. Because if you add like a virtual tour, you can have it where it can click through from Zillow. They don't have that yet for open houses. So if you just simply added an open house on here, it's not going to pick up that Zoom link. So you need to have it in the verbiage. And that's why I guess they have like that specifics that you need to add for it.
Right. So you can't just put it in open house in KWLS. You got to put it in the description. Okay.
Yeah, it won't pick up from Zillow, unfortunately. And I know that's a lot of what people want it to do. So, all right, let's get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my my computer screen, and I want to show you from my phone how you can do this same thing from your phone. So let's go ahead and stop sharing real quick. I'm going to go to screen share again. I'm going to go ahead and share my phone. And let's go ahead and just wait for this thing to load real quick. Wonder why it wants me to get on my public Wi-Fi here. 1 second.
Chris, can I ask you a question? When you post an event on Facebook, does it have to be your business page or should you do your business, not your personal?
What you can do, you can post it onto your business page and then share it back to your
Right,
personal if
okay.
you prefer.
Yeah, thanks.
So that would definitely work as well.
Right.
Okay, so I have my, let's see here, what's going on with this? Just a second. Trying to get this public Wi-Fi to pull up my screen share. Let me try that once more. Okay, let's try that again. Share. It's not pulling up my phone for some reason. Let's see. It's really annoying. Screen mirroring. Yeah, this usually works for me. I don't know why it's not.
Mobile and Verizon were hacked.
Oh, really? Yeah, and I don't want to switch to the other Wi-Fi because then I'll get kicked out of the room. So let's see if I can do this another way. It's really weird. Usually I'm able to get right into it. Let's see. I'll just pull off my Wi-Fi again, try it once more. Okay. Oh, it's weird. All right, hang on one sec. I think what I'm gonna wind up doing, I'm gonna try to switch into the other Wi-Fi, and then I'm gonna come right back into the room. So hang on just one second. Let's see if I can do this. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. So everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes.
My phone. Okay.
Mhm.
So I mentioned with your phone, you can also do the same exact process essentially. Now, the one thing you want to make sure, firstly, of course, you want to make sure that you have the Zoom link available. So you want to make sure if you haven't already downloaded it, it's simply just Zoom. And it would be the first one here. It says Zoom Cloud Meeting. So that would be the link or the app that we want to make sure we're downloaded. Then what we want to do is hit open. So we're going to open up this app. Now, what it's going to allow you to do here, you can see that right now, I'm currently logged into the app. Now, on the bottom here, you'll notice that there's a few different options available. There's meetings. You have your contact list here, if you had a contact list. Now, for the meetings, this would allow me to essentially view any of the meetings that I have happening in the future. In this case, I'd probably have the one available to me for the virtual open house. Now, what I can also do on the top here, I have a personal meeting ID, which would allow me to essentially start up a meeting anytime that I want. I can also send an invitation, which I can copy to a text message or an email. I can also copy it onto my clipboard, which is pretty cool because then I can just kind of post that anywhere that I want. Now in here, I want to start up a Zoom meeting, and I'm just going to do this because I want to show you from that Zoom meeting how the functionality works on your mobile device versus your computer, because it's a little bit different. So I'm just going to hit start. And this is sharing. I'm not going to use my audio here. So I'm sharing my phone screen, as you can see. Now I'm in a meeting. Let's say we're starting up the open house, right? And I have my phone pointed. I can kind of guide people through here and kind of show them the house. Now, I clicked on the screen. You'll notice on the bottom here, there's a few options. I could share content. I could include my audio or stop my video. I could view the participant list here. So again, this would be a great way to see who's actually in the room with you. You'll notice also on the bottom, there's another option that says more. So if I click on the more button, you'll see here that it gives me some options available to me. I'm going to actually stop the recording as well because I don't need that. But under more here, you'll see that I have some chat options, meeting settings, virtual background. If I go to meeting settings here as well, you'll see just some of the additional options I have available to me. Now, what I'm trying to do here is, let's see. I'm trying to find my
Share screen.
share. I want to actually, where's my options to go live? Let's see.
Chat with everyone. I don't know.
There should be an option available here for me to go live. I don't know why it's not letting me right now. Let me see if I go to share content actually. No. Maybe.
Could it be share screen?
I'm gonna see if I do something real quickly. Hold on. Where the heck is it? So let's go to done here. Share content. So I don't want to share my screen.
No.
So I'm trying to see, I thought they had the ability for me to go live. Let's see. 1 sec, I'm gonna end this real quickly. I'm gonna come back into that. So let me see here. Go to settings real quickly. Go to meetings. And I'm trying to see where my, let's see, general settings. No, it's not that. Strange. Usually I have that ability to do this. I go to meetings, chat. No, it's not that. Just 1 second. Interesting. That's weird because I'm usually able to do it.
Are you trying, I'm sorry, are you trying to make this Zoom meeting go live on Facebook? That's what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I was just trying to show it from my meeting how I can do it. But for some reason, it's not letting me. Okay, any case, there's another way you can also share your video or go live to Facebook as well, which I'll show you. But I did want to show it from Zoom if you preferred to do it from the Zoom meeting, which it's not having the option for me to do right now. I'm going to look into that a little bit. But you can also do this additionally from the Facebook app itself. You go into Facebook, and if I go into my page, so I'm just going to use one of my pages as an example here. I'll use the City Views page. You're going to notice on the screen here, there's a create post. And right underneath that, it says photo, create story, live. Now, if I wanted to go live, you can see here I just did. This would allow me to start up a live video. If I decided I was going to do the open house on Facebook Live, I could do so by hitting start live video. And that will allow me to have this open house hosted live through Facebook.
And
If you're going to be,
Facebook automatically records it, right?
it will as well, correct. So if you're going to be doing this on Facebook Live, this will allow you to start the video live and then it'll have it posted onto your business page. Now, as I mentioned with Zoom, the Zoom link, that can also be something if you wanted to have it recorded, you can do that as well. In this case, it wasn't letting me go live at that very point, but if I go back into the app itself here, where's my Zoom app? Let's go back to Zoom. If I go into Zoom, I'm going to try doing it once more here. So under more, I should have had an option available for me to go live as well if I preferred. Alternatively, I can probably do this on my tablet or my computer as well. But in this case, I'm not sure why it's not giving me the option. I'm going to look into that. But from here, if I had the Zoom meeting already set up, as we set it up on my computer and scheduled it, under here where it says meetings, that's where I can find all the meetings that I have scheduled for the week. And from here, I would be able to essentially start that meeting on my phone. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so that would be the only additional step that you need to do if you were going to be doing this from your phone. Obviously, once I log in, I can go to meetings. I can navigate to the meeting for the day. If I pull this up on a Saturday, it'll already be up for me. And I'd be able to start that open house right directly from my phone. So I'm going to just stop sharing. So, I think that's basically what I wanted to cover. Again, I have Brenda in here as well, who can share some of her thoughts. And if she had any kind of if there's questions that anybody had, you can ask them away. We have a
The
little bit
only
of
thing
time.
I want to mention is if something happens that you need to cancel the virtual open house because you have an offer that's, been accepted, and the condition was that you canceled the open house, you have to remember to go into the New Jersey MLS and take that virtual open house link out first, and then go change the status change from active to attorney review. Because if you go and do the status change first, it doesn't allow you to go back and remove the virtual open house link that's in your listing.
Point.
So I learned that.
Cool.
And other than that, you covered everything, how we do it. And it is worth it to pay that $15 a month because you get to have the email addresses so that you can lead gen on that. And we have been quite successful with that in capturing leads.
Very cool. Any other questions that you have for myself or Brenda?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
What about a webinar? That's something that's recorded. You don't have to be live.
So with the webinar, it's essentially the same sort of setup. The only difference between the webinar that I know of is that it would set it up so the participants aren't able to talk. That's what I believe the difference is.
Okay.
So it's kind of like they can view your meeting without having, they'll be able to chat, but they won't have the ability to actually go in and speak.
Okay.
Chris,
Yeah.
if I want to go to the pay Zoom, that's called zoom.us that I would download?
So you would just go to zoom.us. That's the website.
Mhm.
And I'll share my screen again. And I'm going to post this video on YouTube later as well. So if you want to rewatch this, or if there's anything you wanted to see, you'll be able to go there and watch it again. So zoom.us is the website. This is just their main website. Now, if you go to plans and pricing, that's where you'll find all the different types of packages they have.
Oh, okay.
And as we were mentioning, the Pro one is really all you'd probably need. I don't think you really need anything other than that, because this will give you, the unlimited time limits. It'll give you the ability to have those
Registration.
scheduling, the registration URLs, and it'll also allow you to have more people in here. So
Right.
well, 100 people, which you can also have, but it won't have the time limit. And I believe there's some additional things like the storage, which is pretty good. And there's probably a bunch of additional features that you might find useful. But I think for the basic features, that's all you'd probably really need. And again, it's going to wind up probably paying for itself because you're going to figure a lot of your open houses are probably going to be virtual for a little while. And, you know, Zoom's going to make that a lot easier because you'll have that, you know, the ability to have this available to you for however long you need it.
Right.
And
So I
also,
should delete, go ahead.
no, what I was going to say, also you'll have it available to you on your computer. So not only will you have it available to use on your phone, if you had to do a Zoom conference with somebody one-on-one, for example, through your computer, you'll be able to do that as well.
So right now I have it somehow downloaded on my laptop, on my iPad. Should I delete those?
No. So basically all you have to do is just once you activate the package, it's just gonna kind of automatically switch it on all your devices. So as long as you're logged into those devices with the same membership.
Okay.
So like if I registered under my email and I purchased this package, as long as I'm logged in under that account, it's all gonna be the pro features basically.
Okay. Got it. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, you don't have to download anything additional.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Very good. Thank you very much.
All good. Any other questions before we hop off?
We're
You
good.
know what? I have a really quick question.
Yeah.
I bought a stabilizer for
Yeah.
my phone, and that's how I was going to do it.
Yeah, like the
And
gimbal
when
thing.
I speak to, and then I want to turn it around, it
Mhm.
works in my house. When I go to my listing outside, it won't turn around. Is there a reason, or is this just
Sounds like Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi?
So
Okay.
is it controlled by like, is it like a battery powered or something?
Yes.
That I'm actually not sure about. I would have to probably see it in person. Maybe next time I'm in Woodcliff Lake.
I have to charge it. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Woodcliff Lake?
I know like specifically with the stabilizer though, I don't know if it would be affected by just going outside, but again,
Yeah, that's what I don't
that's
get.
really weird.
Okay. You're in Woodcliff Lake, Chris?
No, I'm in Fort Lee today.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mentioned I'll post this video a little later, so if you needed to rewatch it. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming in today. I know I had to change the time very slightly, but yeah, this was good. And
Great,
again,
thank you.
anybody has questions, you can always feel free to reach out. We'll always be available.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, great. Thank
All
you,
right.
Chris.
Thanks,
Thanks a
Brenda.
lot.
Okay,
Talk to
thank
everybody
you.
soon.
Bye.
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 Have a great day.
You too.